Welcome, everyone, to Insights with C5 Insight. So happy for you to join us today. With us, we have Emily, Patrick, Malcolm, and Paige. And we're going to be talking today about things to consider whenever you are attending any kind of summit or presentations or any kind of conferences. So, who's going to open up with things to consider before you get on site at those conferences?
Ooh, before I like your framing.
Yeah,
Let's talk about before you get there,
before you even
which
get
I
there.
think speaks to the whole underlying point. You have to plan it, right?
Yes.
And anybody who follows anything that we do here at C5 understands that we're all about building a plan and executing against the plan. And I would say that as we enter conference season, because here we are, hard to believe we're almost in October, all the conferences are happening. It's time to ramp up. And if you're fortunate enough to be going to anybody, you should build a plan on how to attack it. So I like your call out page. I will because I'm already talking, I'll just say if you have a chance to look at the agenda, which generally speaking are published well in advance, start to plan stuff out. Like, why are you going, right? What are you trying to learn? What do you hope to get from it? We at C5 are going to be at Community Summit in North America, Charlotte, North America, for that matter, and we're going to be at booth 1211, so 1211. And one of the things that I know I love about going to Summit in particular is that whole expo floor is just massive. There's so many things, and it's a great opportunity to just kind of go and poke around some of the solutions that I probably would normally not use myself as a user, but would be really helpful in understanding what the capabilities are
Hmm.
in my current role, but also when I was working at organizations. It was great to see what else was out there because you don't know what you don't know. So see what's going on. So
Absolutely.
plan on what you want to learn when you go there. Think about that ahead of time, because if you wait, it's entirely possible that you're going to get frozen because there's just so many things going on. It's too much.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And on
absolutely.
and on that note as well, I know it's perhaps not helpful for this upcoming month with conferences, but depending on your role in the organization that you're in, you may need to refer to this year to plan for next year to almost make a case for why you should be going because it
Mm.
is expensive pending your organization and truthfully for anyone, depending on where you are in North America or in the world, you have to factor in flights, accommodation, your actual registration fee. So almost planning ahead with what you hope to learn to make almost a case for your manager or for whomever to have a budget to actually attend the conference as well.
Good
Yeah,
call.
and this is kind of on the heels of what Emily was saying. If you do make that case and strongly consider strongly consider speaking,
Mm.
because if you speak, then I believe you get a break on your ticket, right?
Some of
Yeah.
them,
Yes.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
you might get a break on your ticket for some of your things that you're going to be attending. And so that might be the pendulum point, the breaking point, the point that allows you to be able to go, right? So it's going to be less X amount of dollars, and that might make it feasible for you to be able to attend.
Malcolm
Yeah.
Gladwell would have said, Paige, it's the tipping point is the word you're
Thank you.
looking
Tipping
for.
point.
Oh,
That's what I was looking for. Thank you. Thank you. I was looking at Patrick to see what his face was doing. It was very stoic.
Just
Very
seeing
stoic.
how many other variations on point you would come up with, really.
you got there.
Fantastic.
Did
So
we
we pull.
finish talking
Oh,
about the before thing? Because we're kind of
Yeah,
talking
agreed.
around it a little bit. I was also thinking about a lot of the pricing for these in-person conferences. The earlier you
Oh,
register,
yeah.
the
Mm.
less it is.
Yep.
So
mhm.
I think that works in nicely with this whole budgeting discussion that we're talking about. Like, go to the website now, like the Summit website. I know Dynamics Con is coming up also. Look at what their pricing tiers are so that as you're working up your budget proposal for next season,
Yep.
perhaps if this one doesn't work out, then you've got a range of pricing, and that way you can register as soon as announcements go out around that. So just to think about that. And of course, the earlier you can book your flights, and that sweet spot we all try to find for when airlines play the game with our brains, that helps you too. If you know you're going already, that you can get the plane ticket if you need one, or perhaps you can drive.
Yeah, and the hotel. And the
And the
hotel.
hotel, for
Mhm.
sure.
Get that as
Yeah.
early as possible.
Yeah, those hotels book up fast, especially
Yeah.
the ones attached to the conference center.
Yeah, and
And
try to
Try to-
stay as close or within wherever it's going to be if possible, because a lot of these
Absolutely.
summits, and a good example, very large, and just getting to wherever your sessions are going to be or the expo hall is, it's a little bit of a hike, which wear comfortable shoes.
Yes,
Definitely wear comfortable
absolutely.
shoes.
It's a great call out.
Yeah.
And speaking of going to, so that as we kind of segue into like you're there, you're on the ground. If you're alone, which is often the case, right? Organizations can afford to send a person, so you're there representing and your own company, and you're there to learn yourself. But it can be a little overwhelming, especially as these conferences have grown over the years. There's a lot of people, and it's busy, and it's overwhelming. So one thing I would say that I've taught myself and learned over the years, do not be afraid to introduce yourself to people that are around you, whether you're running into people in the expo hall and you're doing the awkward, like you're walking into each other and you both go right and left, like stop and introduce yourself. Everybody's got the name badge on. Where are you from? What are you doing here? I read a book years ago because I despise that part of these things. And I was like, I got to get better at that. And I'm not a big people person, frankly. And so I need to equip myself with some skills to tackle that, and read a book, 101 Ways to Talk to People. I still, to this day, this is like 15 years ago, I read the book, still to this day, deploy tactics I picked up in that book about like when you're meeting somebody, ask them about themselves. Ask them how long they traveled. How did they get here? Did they drive? Did they fly? How was the flight? There's 1,000 things that you could come up with in that first 2 minutes that you could introduce that just break the ice and segue into conversation. And I've met more people now, despite not being a people person, quite literally have friends around the world because I've met them at the summits and the convergences and the things over the years that you have those brief conversations with, and then everybody's there to make connections. The content is important, but the connections, in my opinion, are even more important. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
prepare yourself to meet other people because that's a huge part of it for sure.
Art of small talk as well, just
Yeah.
to get in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also just understanding that there are so many people there who will be in the same position as you if you are
Mhm.
coming on your own. And I'm sure we're like all of us on the call and anyone listening today, you probably might be, if you're an admin, for an example, you might be a one-person show already, so that you may already be used to not having a full team around you. And I'm sure there are others there who are in the same position. So to Malcolm's point, I know it's hard to put yourself out there like that. I definitely understand that, but it'll be worth it when you're there to make those connections and have a buddy to go to some sessions with or what have you. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
while
do
you're
go
at-
to sessions.
Yeah. Yes.
It's easy to fall into the trap of, oh, this is great fun. Let's sit around and just chat with people that we do eventually meet while we're there. For those of you who are joining us who are a little more gregarious, and there's your SAT word today, gregarious. And you're sitting around, yeah, I know I'm ridiculous. And you're sitting around, it's very easy to be like, I'd rather just sit here and talk, especially towards the end of the week when you're
Mhm.
exhausted. But try to force yourself to go to the sessions. And another tip I've got, if your speaker doesn't tell you at the beginning of a session, please know from us who are speakers, it is 100% acceptable if you hear in those first couple of minutes that you've chosen the wrong session for your situation. You can
Leave.
change. No one will
Leave, yeah.
shame you. No one will be offended. It's your conference, so you've got to make the most of it. So just excuse yourself. You don't have to make a big scene about it, but head on out. Go find another session instead, because you don't want to waste that hour and a half, whatever you might be in. So
Yeah.
And
go
do
find
your
the right
homework.
one.
Do your
Mhm.
homework on the sessions, right? So
Yeah.
it's great to pick a session per time slot. I would suggest picking 2 or 3. And there's only so many you have to pick from, but have a first, second, third, because sometimes the venues are small, the rooms are small, they fill up. Some topics are really popular. And so you quite literally have standing room only, and then I've seen scenarios where the venue is coming in being like, yeah, fire code, we can't have any more people in the room. I'm sorry, it's closed. So have a backup session, A, for that scenario, but B, for what Patrick's talking about, and totally reiterate what you're saying. If what I'm saying is not aligning with what you're here to learn, go. right? No offense taken whatsoever. You're here for you. Go and find what you need to find, because you got to maximize the time. It's a long week, but it's also a very short week. You only have so many sessions to go to,
Yep.
so maximize that time.
Mhm.
One of the things I don't know if we've talked about yet is the strategies for what if I don't know what to attend. You know, because like you said, it is overwhelming. Especially the larger conferences, they have so many sessions going on. You may have some, you may have some ability to narrow that down because of the different product areas that are available. But then after that point, you may be like, I'm interested in these things and these things. You know, reach out to folks that you trust, your partners that you've worked with, your coworkers. And if you're kind of a lone wolf in your organization, then when you get to the conference, find folks there and ask them. I know in several conferences they have like a doctor is in kind of situation for the products where you can go in and ask them to help you with issues you might be having in your home environment. Go to them and say, listen, this is my situation. Can you suggest some stuff I could go to, because I'm really lost.
Absolutely.
So, absolutely, ask. That's another good strategy to meet folks. They may not be interested in the same product you are, but that's a fun thing to talk about. I'm not interested in this. I'm interested in this. Oh, wow. Really? I don't know anything about that. So another strategy to meet folks.
I was thinking that about picking your sessions too, because I understand it's easy to maybe think, oh, I know what this product is, or I know what this functionality is. Maybe I'll go to this session because it's comfortable to me, or I'm comfortable in it. I think also putting yourself kind of out of that box a little bit and thinking, hey, I really want to learn about Power BI. I truly know nothing about it. Obviously, there's kind of a level you want to maybe go into more of a beginner geared session as opposed to a completely advanced session, but just thinking through and putting yourself out of confines of what you're currently doing, and thinking about sessions that you maybe just want to learn more about as well. So that does tie into our earlier conversation about preparing before and looking at the agenda, but just thinking about that when you're choosing your sessions as well.
Yeah, and if you're going with friends or coworkers, consider doing a combination of attending some sessions you're both interested in or multiple people are interested in, and also try, and I know it's hard. Try to say, I'm interested in this. I'm interested in this. Try going to those separate sessions. And then when you come back together, you're going to have that much more to share and talk about. And I know that's not always easy, but give it a shot. You might be surprised how much you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Good call. I know we could probably go on and on and on. There's tons of things we could talk about, but I think those are great tips. We tried not to set the stage too much and just kind of wanted to riff on the idea. I know that there's other blogs out there about, what to do at a conference and thing. And frankly, just take 10 minutes to think about it. What are you trying to achieve? Why are you going? What is it you want to go home with? What are your goals, right, for conference? And then if you have a plan, then you can execute against it, like I said earlier. So if you have any question, if you happen to be coming to Summit North America, so again, Charlotte, coming up here mid-October 2023, please swing by our booth, 1211 or 1211. I believe that's right when you come in the expo floor, which is great positioning, so that's good news. Please come and say hi to all of us. Our entire team, just about our entire team, is going to be down there this year, and we're looking forward to mixing and mingling with all of you, and we hope you join us on the next Insights with C5 Insight. Thanks for coming.
Bye-bye.